Hey, friends, and happy Monday to you. I hope you have started off this day and, more importantly, this week being confident, being optimistic, being hopeful, and anticipating the best um, through God. And in my quiet time today, I'm rereading uh, the book of Matthew. We know that we can read the word 100 times, and every time we get a different message. So I'm going through the Old Testament again, and I'm doing something a little different. I'm really not just taking my time, but I'm being more curious and questioning everything. And I read something, and if I go, that's kind of interesting, then I literally stop. I do some more research. I read the same verse in a different version and really get a deeper understanding. And of course, praying and asking God to really illuminate to me what it is that He wants me to get from it. So I'm now in Matthew 6, and I reached a point, verse 9 or 10 through 13 or 14, where it's the Lord's Prayer. So I'm very familiar with the Lord's Prayer, and actually when I do my prayer, I usually start off with the Lord's Prayer, and then I get into what it is that I want to talk to God about. And the verse that says, lead us not into temptation, when I read it, again, I say it every day, I stopped and I really paused, and I said, why is Jesus telling us in our prayer to the Lord to ask Him not to lead us into temptation? Then it got me to thinking, well, why would I have to request God to not lead me into temptation? Is God leading me into temptation? That just seems contrary to His entire nature. How could He call on me or on us to be holy if He's then going to turn around and lead us into temptation? So I did a lot more research, a lot uncovering, a lot of just curious poking. And here's what I have gained a different understanding of it to be. It's not so much of us saying, God, please don't lead me into temptation. It's saying, God, like, protect me from temptation, protect me from myself. In our human nature, the way we are wired, the way we just come into this world, we're always going to be drawn into temptation and drawn into those things that are contrary to the word of God and contrary to His nature. And if we depended on our own strength to be able to carry us through, well, we'll fall time and time again. And I want you to think today of an area of your life that you might still be struggling with, that you keep saying, I'm going to conquer this and I'm going to conquer it, and you find yourself falling down again. Number one, I want you to be able to know that you can get back up, that you can ask God for forgiveness and He will strengthen you to get back up. But the other thing is to understand that in our own human strength, there's only so much that we can do, because the flesh will always keep craving those things. But in our relationship with God, He can strengthen us supernaturally. And those things that we found that we couldn't resist, then all of a sudden, the temptation is not as strong. Now, I'm not saying that you then mock it and say, oh, I'm stronger than that. Oh, that don't even tempt me anymore. I could just go ahead and do it. No, we still want to be mindful to not put ourselves in situations that will draw us into sin, that will draw on our human nature and take us down a path. That's why even in the word, Jesus says, if your eye offends you, take the eye out. If your hand offends you, cut off your hands. And what it's saying there as well is be intentional and go to extreme measures to remove yourself from situations where you're going to see, hear, or be around things that would invite you into sin. But at the end of the day, our relationship with God, and when we're in alignment with Him, there's a level of protection and covering that we don't have if we try to do it on our own. So I pray that today and every day that, like me, you ask God to lead you not into temptation. I hope this word has encouraged you and fortified you for the day. Stay encouraged, friends, and I'll talk to you soon. Have an amazing day.